Today we're going to be unboxing a brand new Stokke Trailz chassis. This is the all black edition. We're just doing the chassis. We've already done a video on the seat and we will do the bassinet at some point in the future. But we just wanted to give you an idea of what's inside the box when you purchase one of these, as well as set it up, show you how to set it up, and give you some tips on the optimal way to prepare it for use. So, comes all packed in like this. Lots of extra cardboard inside, so lay it on its side in order to pull the whole thing out. Okay, so you can start by just detaching these cardboard flaps here. The bumper bar comes with the chassis. Here we have some wheels. Rear wheels. Here we have your warranty information and your instruction manual. Itself. Just gonna fold it up and pull up the handle, click it open. Go. And in the bottom of this cardboard element are the front wheels. Okay, so now you've gotten it out of the box, and leaving the bumper bar out of it, as that's only really relevant with the seat, but I'm going to give you some tips on setting up this chassis. So one thing to note is that sometimes these chassis stand in a warehouse for a good deal of time before they are finally shipped to you. These front wheels feel relatively well inflated, but what happens over time is that some of the air starts to come out of the tire. It's not because of any kind of punctures, it's simply a matter of air pressure. Just over time, temperature changes and stuff can reduce some of the air. So you want to check your wheels that the air, that they're relatively pumped. If not, you can of course pump them. Just get yourself a nice handy pump. It's the same nozzle that you would find on car and most bicycle tires as well. Good idea to pump those up. So if you look closely at the axles on these front wheels, when you take them out, you'll notice that there is a little bit of a white grease on here. If it has been sitting in a warehouse for a long time, this might be more powdery, in which case it means it's dried and you need to clean it off first. It's a good idea to add a little bit more of this sort of grease, and this is called viral food industry grease. A silicone putty works as well, but not something like a multi-purpose car grease for some reason. I think it's a bit too slippery. But something, either the viral food industry grease or a silicone putty, you can actually add a bit more, ideally, if you have access to this sort of stuff. And that's before you slap it in place in the front end. Additionally, these front wheels come with the swivel lock engaged, so you'll want to unlock it. If you're finding that it's a bit tough, it will get a bit easier over time to activate on and off that swivel lock, but you can use something like a silicone spray. Just spray inside a bit, both where the lock part pops up and the button itself, as well as in these holes, one of these holes at least from the side, as that accesses the main channel. So then you can just pop these front wheels in place, give them a little turn to spread around that thicker white grease. And then when you get to where the back wheels are, if you have access to silicone spray, it's a good idea to run a little bit down into the brake channels. right where that pin pops out of the brake channel, as well as where the pin pops in on the other side. Since this stroller hasn't been used at all, it's quite nice to use silicone spray because there's no like grit or sand or anything in the channel already, and all of that nice coating is going to protect the plastic around where the pin emerges. The other side. And then the last place that's kind of nice to oil right away is the main suspension element on the back side. And you can either, again, use your silicone, or you can really just use WD-40. In this case, I have a generic WD-40. Just spray a healthy dose right in there where that, let's see, this gray metal plate is sticking out. Allow it to get nice and lubricated. That's going to prevent creaking sounds, squeaking sort of sounds from your chassis. A lot of the lubricating, of course, can't be done to these strollers before they're sold, because you don't want to, take something out of a box and have any sort of oil drips on the chassis. It has to do, as I said, with the front wheels, they have to put a little of that food industry grease on it in order for those front wheels to work properly. But if it sits in a warehouse for a while, it can dry out and get kind of powdery, and then it'll have like the opposite function of what it's supposed to do. It'll make it hard to turn those wheels. So a lot of people think you can just take a stroller out of the box and it's like ready for use, and to a large extent it is. But if you do these sorts of things when you take it out, be aware that it's a mechanical system. If you bought a car straight from a factory, you would still have to put oil and various fluids and gasoline and stuff in it in order for it to function properly. When you buy a new bike, people oil up the chains as well. It's the same with strollers. Stroller is a moving parts, out in the real world sort of a vehicle. It requires a little bit of maintenance and preparation for use. But in any case, that is our unboxing of the 2019 all black Trailz chassis from Stokke, and a few tips on the ideal way to set it up for first use. We hope this video has been interesting to you, and if it has been, we ask you to subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. Thank you.